Welcome everyone to the BrainPOP Educators webinar series for today. We are going to be talking with two certified BrainPOP educators, Alexis Corneal and Jamie Chanter, who are going to be speaking to us about best ways of using BrainPOP over the summer, because there's no shortage of ways, but there's a lot of creative stuff to do to make sure that kids are prepped and ready to log in, and then once they are logged in from home, to use the resources in fun and innovative and engaging ways. So handing it off to Alexa and Jamie, really transparent. This is a webinar about using BrainPOP over the summer in all of its glory and its features. So it's not a general overview of how BrainPOP works. If you would like to watch a general overview, we have plenty of those archived on our BrainPOP Educators webinar page, and you can go and watch that, and it'll tell you about all the tools. This is kind of a step up. It's kind of with understanding that you may know the tools already and just think about creative ways to use them. So that's just warning you. So if you wanted just a general overview, this may not be the appropriate webinar for you, and that we have archived ones for you. Next, a lot of the features that we're going to illustrate today and talk about, like making movies and concept maps and saving things, are all available to teachers and students that have a My BrainPOP individual account. Now, to have a My BrainPOP individual account, the school needs to have a subscription. So if there's a classroom subscription, then you're not going to have an individual account. For homeschool, we do have individual accounts, so you're all set. But I just wanted to be really clear about that, because if you have a classroom subscription, some of what we're talking about today may not be possible. Not all of it, but just some of it. So again, just trying to be really transparent about that before we get started, so people don't feel all let down or disappointed later on when we say it's only for teachers and students that have school subscriptions, not classroom subscriptions. And a good way of determining whether you have a school subscription or a classroom subscription is whether everyone in the school logs in with the same username and password, or whether everyone has individual username and passwords. And if you've got the individual ones, then you've got My BrainPOP individual account set up, and you'll be good to go. If everyone still logs in with a generic username and password, you're not going to have access to some of the features that we're describing today. So just wanted to be transparent about that. All right, now the agenda for today. We're going to talk a little bit about why we should use BrainPOP over the summer. I'll start with that. And then I'll hand it off to Jamie, who's going to talk about setting up for success, because kids always have teachers to remind them for how to log in and whatnot within the schools. But at home, you don't have the same kind of high touch connection over the summer. So there's ways to set it up so that kids can log in easily and know what to do. So Jamie's going to talk about some of those setup procedures that she's putting in place this year with her lower school students. Then we'll hand it off to Alexa, who's going to talk about different projects that students could do once they are logged in and ready. That will be the structure for today. And of course, throughout the presentation, if you have questions or comments, you can pop them into the chat room, and either Jamie or Alexa will answer them in real time, or we can ask them again at the end. The intent is to go until about 4:15, make this 45 minutes. And that's really important because Alexa needs to get back to her students who are still in class right at 1:15. She's on the West Coast. So we'll make sure that we are wrapped up with her at least by then. So that's our agenda. Any questions about that, you can pop them in the chat room. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to our next slide. All right, so why this webinar? Why are we doing BrainPOP over the summer? Well, it became kind of clear to us at BrainPOP that when a school subscribes to BrainPOP, they have 24/7 access for 365 days a year. So that means over the summer, when school may not be in session, children and students may still have access. And so why not think of a way to get the most out of that, to connect the parents and the students and their children around using BrainPOP, or to make some assignments in advance to prep them for the following year or review what they did the year before over the course of the summer. There's no reason to let this subscription stay idle because the school has paid for it. And one of the benefits is that this is a tool that can be used, and the features can be used at home, not only in school. Also, of course, BrainPOP has topics in all different subject areas. So regardless of what kind of either extension or remediation work students need to do over the summer, BrainPOP can address them because there's content that addresses it. Of course, this also, as I said earlier, reaffirms the value of individual accounts because kids can log in on their own and save the work that they do to either submit to their teacher that they had the previous year or to prepare for the following year. Of course, these individual accounts in the school, at the school subscription level, give you access to these more advanced constructivist tools where you can make things on BrainPOP. You know, many people think, oh, BrainPOP, it's just the movies that explain stuff. And that's what we've been for a long, long time. We've been a content company, but in recent years, we've created and began hosting games that are playful so kids can play with them. And we now have these construction tools where kids can make concept maps and make their own movies on BrainPOP. So that's a really different kind of usage of BrainPOP that's playful and allows kids to express understanding and demonstrate what they know. And that's only available right now to people with individual accounts at full schools. So, and it's great stuff to do over the summer. Of course, with those individual accounts and those tools, you can save them. And as I said before, BrainPOP can really help connect parents, students, and teachers, that kind of holy trinity, to make sure that everyone's talking about the same content in similar terms and in similar ways. So with that, I'm going to wrap up my part, and I want to introduce Jamie Chanter, who's joining us from Ohio today. Jamie is a technology integrator at her school and has not only teaches young children and works with teachers in the school to make technology seamlessly integrated into the classroom. She also teaches online course and is pretty active on Twitter, and it really shows a lot of professional generosity. She was certified on BrainPOP about a year ago at ISTE and has been a nice participant in our Certified BrainPOP Educator community, often asking really pointed, valuable questions and contributing answers to other people's ideas when they share in our community. So I'm really excited to have her on today, and I will introduce Alexa when we hand it off to her, but right now I'm going to hand it off to Jamie. So Jamie, thank you so much for joining us, and the presenter privileges are now all yours. I'm going to mute.
Can you hear me? Here we go. Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much, Andrew. That was such a warm welcome. I appreciate those kind words. That was super nice. I just want to make sure that I saw in the chat there were a lot of people having some audio issues, but it looks like we're good now. So I'm hoping that everyone can hear me. And I'm seeing now a lot of positives in the chat, so that's great. I'm glad everyone can hear. I'm going to try and stay inside the WebEx. That way we can keep everyone and we won't have to lose the chat. So I'm just going to start with this first slide, and this is a graphic that I pulled off of the BrainPOP Educators website, which if you've forgotten about that website, because sometimes I forget about it, go back to it and just check out everything they have, because when I was preparing for this webinar, I went back and I'm like, this website is so chock full of amazing resources. So hopefully, if you haven't been there, you get a chance to go back there soon and check out everything that they have. They're always adding to it, and I'm always pleasantly surprised for what I find when I get there. So this graphic just shows that connection between home and school, and I really love that it has the parents in there. I am a parent of 6, and my children range from high school down to preschool, so we are huge. We need all the help we can get. Anytime that the teachers can be on my team and help me with my kids, I'm a huge, I'm really grateful about that. So I wanted to make sure that I showed this graphic to make sure you guys see that we're really over the summer wanting to extend that relationship to the parents, that we're not, just because we're done working for the school year doesn't mean that us teachers are taking a break from your kids, and we can be there for them in other ways, BrainPOP being one amazing way. So that first step is just making sure that we have that set up. One of the ways that we would like to get access secured for our students, we do have the individual accounts in my district. It's brand new to us though this year. We've had regular BrainPOP where we just had the generic login, and it was typically just teachers presenting whole class and taking the quizzes one at a time, where we would print out the paper versions. But as we have rolled out more of a 1-to-1 model, we're really about a 1-to-3 model, so we have a shared cart. We've seen the need to go further with BrainPOP. So we've brought our subscription up to snuff, and we now have individual logins for the kids. And we even got it to work with the Google single sign-on, which was such a game changer. So, sorry, my daughter's in the background. It's going to pull one of those moments with the newscaster that was so famous before. Anyway, we want to make sure our students know how to log on independently as young as kindergarten so that when they go home, the parents aren't so frustrated trying to get them logged into this website that we know is really great screen time for kids, because that's a constant concern as a parent. And as a teacher, we hear it from parents that they want to limit their children's screen time. And so when their kids are on screens, we want it to be something worthwhile. And that's where BrainPOP is such a great answer. So this letter home, if you, the links, thank you for putting those into the chat. So the links that, or actually, maybe those aren't the links. I'll put the links into the chat, but they are great links. This letter you can link to. I have it linked so you can just have a copy, and let me copy that and paste it into our chat. That way you can see it. So the letter we send home, and we also have the kids practice a lot before school is out. So there's the link for the letter home. And it just explains to the parents, gives an overview and explains that the kids need to be using their school Google address and be logged into Chrome with that school address in order for their BrainPOP to work. Now, setting that up was a bit of a challenge for us. Like I said, it was our first year. So we went through this setup with the students, and the students are so used to me saying drive, waffle, more, Moby head. So I repeat those 4 steps, very constantly, and they've seen this graphic before. So we try to get this into the, this routine or this process. We want them to be very familiar with it before they leave for summer. So I'm constantly telling them, drive, waffle, more, Moby head, drive, waffle, more, Moby head, so that they know how to get into BrainPOP that way. That enables the Google single sign-on. That way they don't have to have the step 5 and 6. They don't have to worry about that after the initial setup. And I see that some people are asking about the link, how to get that Google single sign-on. It's a little tough to get it going, but man, once you've got it, it's great. So yes, Peggy, I could be a rapper for sure. So this graphic might help you get your students used to that routine of signing in. We did bookmark as well once we got the initial sign on, but that was a little tricky too. We have found much more success just using those simple steps 1 through 4 of getting the kids into their accounts. So that is those 2 resources I would highly recommend getting rolled out here in the next couple of days. I know we only have, I think, 8 days of school left, so I'm really trying to hammer it home with the teachers. And just along those same lines, this is a Google slide, and again, it's linked here, so I will copy that link into the chat. But what I did was I just created a generic Google slide template, and our intention is to get the kids to fill it out, so they're gonna either type it in or just use a good old-fashioned pen or pencil to write in their username, their password, which goes with our district Google sign-in. And then I'm giving them the reminder, the steps, drive, waffle, more, Moby. And we also have Newsy LA, Zern, and Raz Kids. So we'll be adding that information in there as well. And again, just to give the parents, these are some safe tools that we endorse here at Lakewood City Schools. And if you are going to have your children on a screen, this is a great way for them to be learning at the same time, not only content, but technology skills as well, because those are so important. So we are trying to get this card into the hands of all of our students before summer is out. And it is a lot of work. I work with over 700 kids at my 2 schools. So me making the template, the kids filling in the blanks, and asking my homeroom teachers to help me out, we will get this card out to them. So it's up to them how they print it out or how they get that shared with home. The teachers are taking that on, thank goodness, but this is a great starting point, so I'll put that link in there for you as well. That is, I have one more, sorry, I thought I was all done. Some teachers who I work with are really engaged in the BrainPOP educator, or the BrainPOP individual accounts. So they've been with working with me closely since February when we first got our Google single sign-on working and our My BrainPOP individual sign-ons really going. And they have just taken such a lead with this that they are ready to prepare some assignments for their students over the summer. They know, that let's say it's a third grade teacher, she knows what standards her kids have gone through the year, which ones were perhaps tougher than others, and she might load some assignments on that BrainPOP for those students maybe they need a little review on. She would also then be in contact with the fourth grade teacher and say, what's coming their way. We have a tough time in our district squeezing in content for science and social studies. We put a lot of focus on math and ELA, and we have one of the shortest school days in the state. So we are constantly looking for minutes to help get our students as much learning as they can during the school day. But it's never enough, as we all know. So using this BrainPOP over the summer, and like I said, if we've got parents looking to keep their kids busy with something engaging, this is a great answer. So some of our teachers are even prepping for fall by building assignments into their students' My BrainPOP accounts. They're offering some sort of incentive too, and it's always cool when you're little, of course, to get some feedback from your teachers. So I am a co-teacher on a lot of our students' accounts. So I plan on, going in once a week or once every other week and just checking, seeing if any of our students are active on My BrainPOP and giving them a little nod, giving them a comment, or motivating them to keep going or congratulating them for learning over the summer. So now I'm good. I'm going to put my links in after I hand it off to Alexa, who has some super amazing ideas. So if you're listening, and I see we've got a lot of participants, which makes me super excited, get ready because here's some great ideas. Thank you so much. I'm going to hand it off to Alexa.
Great. And while it gets presented over to Alexa, I'll just, I want to reiterate a few things that Jamie mentioned. One, I love that you have students write their own username and passwords down on their own worksheets on that slide, because it's getting the student into the role of responsibility for maintaining that on their own. Whereas, you could have the teachers do it or do it yourself, which would take a long time. But I think putting the kids into the role and responsibility for their own login information is really, really wonderful. So I just want to kind of highlight the value of doing that. And I also wanted to mention that, Jamie mentioned how she does Google single sign-on, and there's the waffle, the Drive, waffle, more, Mobi. That's one way of doing it. There are other single sign-on protocols. If you have ClassLink, or if you have Canvas, or a tool that uses LTI, which is another form of single sign-on, that can be set up as well. And I posted a link earlier in the chat that has some of the information about that. As Jamie said, it can be a little tricky sometimes depending on how your school or district has set up their Google domain or the LTI sign-on, but we do have support people here to walk you through and make sure that you have success. So I just wanted to kind of reiterate that. So awesome. Thank you, Jamie, so much for sharing really practical and immediately applicable tips.
Thank you. I hope I didn't run too long, because really these ideas coming are great. And I hope that you are able to hand off the mic because I lost that access.
Yeah,
So
no, it's all in Alexa's hands. And Alexa, just really quickly, fourth grade teacher in outside San Diego, actually has a background studying criminal justice, but went into the classroom and recently got certified at a BrainPOP Certified Educator workshop at the Q conference back in March, and kind of blew our socks off with the work that she did through the certification process of demonstrating her competency using a lot of the BrainPOP tools. So when Jamie and Alexa and I were planning last week, Jamie and I were both similarly very excited about the ideas that Alexa had. So we're just thrilled to have her. Thank you, Alexa, for sharing with us, and it's all yours.
Hey, well, I hope you all can hear me. Can you hear me, everyone?
Yep, I hear you.
Okay, awesome. Just checking. All right, well, thank you so much, Andrew. Jamie, awesome job. So yeah, I am a fourth grade teacher. I work right outside of downtown San Diego, and we have one-to-one, and our entire site recently purchased a subscription to BrainPOP, and it is amazing. And as Jamie mentioned earlier, there are so many resources, and honestly, like they keep updating it all the time, and it's awesome. So make sure you're checking out the educators portion of BrainPOP, because there are so many great things to share with your team to get more buy-in and participation. So yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and just share some tips with you guys. As Andrew was mentioning, the kids have BrainPOP access all through summer, so it's so important for them to be using a super fun and educational tool, and getting their money's worth. So here are some resources that you can try with your kids and share out, so they can try it. So the first one, my kids are really excited about this. My kids love the opportunity to teach others. So every year I have my kids do a video and a letter to the incoming fourth grade students. And now with the new Make a Movie feature that BrainPOP has released, I'm going to have my kids choose a topic throughout fourth grade, either in language arts, science, math, what have you, whatever they prefer, and just go ahead and make a movie about that topic, explaining it, like breaking down the most important pieces to their incoming fourth graders. So they're really excited about that. Some kids have already started doing it, mainly on fractions. Some kids are already starting doing it on Gold Rush, like Major Nuggets of Wisdom is one of the titles that they're going with. So yeah, those are some ideas to kind of share. And then I intend on going ahead and sharing those before I introduce the concept for next year. Another really cool idea that actually a couple of my students have already started is just I titled it like the Amazing Authors Challenge. So there's an amazing set of videos on BrainPOP about different types of authors. And it's important, I think, for children to realize these great literary works and all of everything that came before them. And so I try to make sure that they're tapping into history as well. And so showing and challenging kids to take a look at the author section and choose a video to watch and challenge them to go ahead and read as many books as they can about that particular author. And as they're reading throughout the summer, encourage them to use the Make a Map feature on BrainPOP to kind of keep track of their progress, kind of maybe having in the center the author, maybe even their picture. As you know, on the Make a Map feature, you can use that snapshot tool, which is you can just kind of take the actual snippet of the video and put it into your map. It's an awesome feature. So in the middle of the movie, they can just put that in and then just start making branches about major themes that they're seeing in the author, major symbols that the author continues to have. And yeah, I think that's an awesome idea for them to go ahead and try out. Another idea is on BrainPOP, there's a practical math section. And I know that we all hear all the time those moans and groans of like, when am I ever going to use this? And so on BrainPOP, there's actually a practical math section, and I have the symbol right above there, as you guys can see. And just empower your kids to check out that section. Check out all the ways that math is actually used in our everyday life, and just encourage them to use the Make a Map feature to kind of show, oh, okay, like I'm using fractions, like, wow, I'm using it in baking. I can use it in at my swim meets and all these different pieces. And then if you want to challenge them to go beyond that, maybe have them conduct like little interviews with their family and use the Make a Movie feature and challenge them to see like, oh, how does my mom use fractions, or how does my dad use decimals, and make it more applicable to them. And definitely it's just getting that brain turning and their mind working as they're over summer, and just remembering, oh yeah, this is how I add fractions, this is how I use ratio, these are what decimals are, and just kind of keeping that going. And also on BrainPOP, there's an artist and musician section. And I know my kids absolutely love any chance to get inspired with their creativity. And so similar to the author's idea, it's super important for them to see that there are also amazing, great artists that came before them, and amazing concepts in music as well. And so I would just challenge your kids to watch the videos on artists or musicians, and challenge them to practice that concept. So there's a really cool video on cubism. Have the kids challenge them to watch the video and then try it on their own, kind of like a try it myself. And after that, make a movie explaining how they apply cubism in their own world. And maybe even show, like, they can, on the make a movie, you can also draw and annotate. So kind of making their own cubism type of art on there. And I think that would be really cool. Or even, I know a lot of my kids are musicians, so challenging to explore like different types of music, like Latin music, and pick up that instrument over summer. I am not sure about for everyone else, but for me, we have a very small community, and all of my kids seem to know everyone. And I always hear about, oh, we just had like a block party, Halloween, we all did this. And so one of the ideas I thought would be pretty cool is to use BrainPOP with everybody else and inspire them. And so recently there was Biodiversity Day, and I know in my class we're really studying on how we can be agents of change for our planet. And so BrainPOP has an awesome section called The Fragile Environment. And it's just videos to bring more awareness to all of these topics and how we can be agents of change, and just educating us about the rainforest and our planet and how to conserve water. So encourage your kids to maybe be that agent of change and invite some of their friends over on an afternoon, and just watch one of the videos that they find interesting. And then challenge them to come up with like a little neighborhood task force of like, okay, if we're gonna watch a video on conservation, what are some things that we can do locally to start being agents of change and make this happen? And encourage them to talk to their parents, get them involved. I know a lot of my kids do like lemonade stands, they sell popsicles or pretzels. Something really simple really gets them going into empowering them. I always tell my kids all the time, they have a voice that it's so powerful, and to make sure that they're using it for good and to be agents of change, because they really are the future. And so something as simple as this can really get that going. And there's several videos there, so it can even be a weekly thing that you want to do, like a neighborhood watch party maybe every Thursday and have kids come over, or every Friday night, so they have a safe and educational activity to participate in. And finally, the last topic I wanted to share with you all, it's kind of a topic that is near and dear to me. I know that unfortunately there's a lot of kids are going through a lot of struggles and coming off. I know in our district we've sent out a mass email in regards to the Netflix show called 13 Reasons Why. And we're really trying to focus in on, one of our students has been affected by suicide. So that's a topic very sensitive to myself and my district. So making sure that we maybe are not touching upon that topic yet, but sharing with other kids that it's okay not to be okay. And I find it amazing that BrainPOP is on the forefront with all this, and they have a psychology section, and there's so many amazing tips to talk about and to kind of get our kids young thinking about their mind and understanding like, oh, okay, I'm not feeling so great, I'm not feeling so happy today, that's okay. But if I'm not, these are some tips and tools I have and resources at my disposal to fix that. So they have videos on stress, on bullying, on how to get help. And I think that it's awesome if we could get parents engaged with their kids, kind of having maybe a table talk Tuesday with their kid, choose a video that they want to watch. Maybe especially right before school starts, maybe watching that stress video or bullying video or how to get help, and just letting them know, you're about to embark in a new transition into a brand new school year. Let's watch this together. What advice do Tim and Moby have? How do you feel about it? And just getting our kids and our parents to have more time with each other and talk about those, and just to remind them that it's okay not to be okay. And just, I think always starting that dialogue is so important. And I'm so thankful to BrainPOP for having that and making those things possible. So yeah, those are, I hope that my rambling made sense. But those are just some ideas I came up with. I think that's it. Yeah, so I will go ahead and hand over the presenter rights to Andrew. Go ahead and take it from here.
All right. Thank you so much. There was, especially during the when you were talking about the table talks with Tim and Moby, there were just tons and tons of people in the chat room saying how wonderful and excellent the idea is. And I think it's a good way to end the presentation of ideas, because BrainPOP, because it's available 24/7, and we do kind of handle some complicated issues with a rather gentle touch, it can become that entry point for conversations that may not come up naturally, or that a parent struggles to talk about on their own anyway, because it's tough to have these conversations. And in parts of our culture in the US, we try to avoid it and not talk about it, and that makes things worse. So if you can watch a 4 or 5 minute video to help kind of outline some of the issues, and then explore it more deeply, either through conversation or through rewatching with your child, it's just a great way of not only bringing up the conversation that's important to have, but illustrating the value of shared screen time as an entry point into meaning, not just an entry point for distraction or avoidance. Because I live here in New York City, so many people are on the subway just playing Candy Crush, and it's a good diversion. It's an incredibly well-designed game from an addiction perspective, but using that when you see parents and kids playing that side by side, they're not using the screen as a connecting opportunity. They're using it as a moment to separate and do their own things. So I just can't help but totally reiterate and appreciate the idea about co-viewing as moments to connect, and make the devices and the content on screen something that is meaningful rather than avoidant. So thank you so much for that, for all the ideas. They are really, really incredible. But that one is a really, really important one. So I'm going to begin wrapping up. Of course, any questions that pop in, some may have popped up in the chat while I was just on my little soapbox, and I apologize if I was not able to address them in the moment, but maybe Jamie or Alexa saw some of them. I'm going to begin wrapping up, and of course, we'll stick around a little bit at the end if there's any additional questions. So let's move on to the next slide here. So you can pop those questions in. And again, we'll stick around as well. Also, it's a nice moment, you just listened to ideas for the last 37 minutes, 38 minutes. What inspired you? What's something you may want to try based on Alexa and Jamie's ideas? Just take 15 seconds, 20 seconds to think about that. If you're inspired to write it down, you can, but I'm just gonna be quiet because we don't take time in life to reflect enough. So I'm gonna carve it out of this broadcast for you to reflect. What are you inspired by from what you just heard? Great. I also want to respect our time. So it looks like people are excited about the movie maker, sharing psychology with the psychology counselor. Terrific. Again, the school has a subscription, so there's no reason that the psychologist can't use it in their setting, even though they may not have the standard classes that some of you may have in academic content areas. Film festival, great, Jamie, like that one. Awesome. A lot of excitement about the video maker. So great, thank you all for sharing what you're inspired to do. Also, this is a call for to certification. Both Jamie and Alexa are certified BrainPOP educators, and we have a certification process, which is not as simple and easy as just watching a movie and taking a quiz. You either have to attend a workshop with us in person at a conference, or we are now offering a monthly online course. You can enroll in that. And in addition to, if you're meeting us in person, after the first class, which may be 3 or 6 hours, there's 5 or 6 requirements that you need to submit to the BrainPOP team to demonstrate your competency using our mapping tool, using our movie tool, using the BrainPOP Educators resources to support you. So it's a reasonably rigorous process. And many people start, but not all that many finish. But that's why we want it to be rigorous, because we want it to mean something. And Jim and Alexa are great examples of people that put in that time and effort. And it's evident because they really talk and think about using BrainPOP in an authoritative and effective way. So you can get certified. The details about that are on BrainPOP Educators. It's also worth noting that if you want more details about this, but you don't want to become certified, BrainPOP is now leading professional development workshops. We will come to schools, and there's more details about that on the BrainPOP Educators website as well. And that's it. So I just want to send a huge thank you to all of you for coming today, and an even huger thank you to Jamie and Alexa for sharing the really practical, pragmatic elements of getting kids logged in at home, as well as the really innovative and interesting ideas for things that they can do over the summer. And even during the year, these things are not just limited to the summertime. They can do that. So really tons of thanks, both of you sharing such professional generosity, taking time out of your busy schedules at a really busy time of year to work and come up with some good ideas and share them with the larger community. So thank you both tremendously for that. And thank you all for coming. We'll stick around for a few minutes if there's any final questions. But if not, we will also wrap up. And I'd love to give Jamie and Alexa a final opportunity to sign off and say anything that they may have forgotten or anything. So Alexa, you want to say anything? I know you got to run back to your kids, so I'll let you go first, and then Jamie.
I think the best advice I could say is just make sure check out the educators website, check out the lessons. It's great inspiration for you to tailor it to your own classroom, and just make sure that those of us that are still in the midst of school, I still have a couple weeks left, just keep trucking. You're the inspiration for your kids, and they definitely feed off your energy. So there's still some amazing things, some amazing film festivals you can put together. Use those little movie tickets available on the educators website to get the buy-in for that film festivals or whatever you want to create in your classroom. But it's an amazing site and great resources there. So please take the time to check it out. It's worthwhile.
Thanks, Alexa. Jamie, any final parting words? You're muted, so I can unmute you.
Thank you, Andrew. Yes, I would just like to say thanks to everyone who participated, and please feel free to contact me. I'm really accessible through Twitter. Also, I just love that BrainPOP has become so student-centered, and that they really put that focus on students choosing their paths and creating their products rather than the old model of education, which we really need to get away from, because we want to build stronger students who have problem-solving skills and creativity and critical thinking skills. So BrainPOP is such a great tool for that future model. And I'm just super happy that I got involved with it early on and have never let it go, because it's always been worthwhile.
And Jamie, it would be worthless and useless without people like yourself who can think about it in interesting ways and talk about it in interesting ways, because it's really content and tools, but those are nothing without guidance from people who can think about using them effectively. So thank you for all the effort you put into implementing it effectively in your schools. So
definitely. Thanks.
It's just a love fest over here.
It is. It really is. I'm smiling from ear to ear.
Well, I totally mean it. So thank you.
Great. Thanks.
Both of you guys. Thanks, everyone. Have a great Wednesday and great end of the year, and stay strong.